Young and the Restless scoop. For Monday, August 25th, reveals Victor Newman will learn Kane Ashby's billions came from his father's fraud. Also coming up, Lily Winters will grill Holden Novak. Plus, Nick Newman and Adam Newman will discuss the merits and drawbacks of their father's plan. And Sally Spectra will learn Billy Abbott's having Kane followed. Y&R spoilers tease Sally will show up at Billy's place with a couple of outfits she's considering wearing to the Abbott Communications launch. So, she'll model them for him. It's actually the highlight of this episode. At least Sally and Billy are having fun. "You are gorgeous! Oh my gosh!" he'll tell her as he starts to remove the last dress. Later, Sally will ask which was his favorite, and he'll say the third one, a beautiful navy blue velvet dress. Sally will say she's excited about the job, but worries she's in over her head. Billy will tell her he'll support her every step of the way. Then he'll get a call. "Don't tell me you have information on Kane already," he'll ask. When he hangs up, he'll say his private investigator just told him Victor is with Kane on his private train. But Sally will worry that if Kane finds out Billy's having him followed, he'll go after Abbott Communications. At Newman Ranch, Adam will show up and ask where Victor is. "I want to talk about Kane. I've done more thinking about our father's plan," he'll add. "I think it's the wrong move." Adam doesn't think forming an alliance with Kane to go after Jabot is a good idea, and he wants Nick to team up to talk Victor out of it. But Nick will tell him to trust their father. He'll also say that when he and Sharon Newman were locked up in Nice, they found information about the chateau and its previous owners. So, Victor's plan could have something to do with that. At Crimson Lights, Lily will ask Kane why he hid his plan out of fear. They'll have the same old conversation they've been having for weeks about their kids. "Maddie and Charlie feel betrayed by you. You failed them as a father," she'll tell him. Then Victor will walk around the corner. He'll say he wants to have a word with Kane, and Lily will leave. She'll end up at the park holding her ginormous purse in front of her belly and run into Holden. He'll tell her he took the job with Kane and will be based in Genoa City. "I think you're really going to regret working for Kane," Lily will tell him. Lily will tell Holden she's doing him a favor by warning him about Kane. "Why would you care?" he'll ask. Lily will say she wants to know what her ex-husband is up to. Holden will tell her he has no idea. "I find that hard to believe," Lily will reply. Finally, Kane will take Victor to his choo-choo train and ask if he still wants to join forces. "I'm here to make you an offer you can't refuse," Victor will reply. There'll be more boring business talk about why Kane is obsessed with Chancellor. Victor will say the company isn't the key to Lily's heart. Then he'll throw an envelope on the coffee table. Victor will tell Kane it contains evidence that the money he used to buy Arabesque was the result of a massive fraud his father perpetrated on a wealthy elderly woman. "The woman who owned the chateau and vineyard," he'll add. "All of this is a result of dirty money, of stolen money." Kane will look at the letter inside, and he'll say, "So what? This woman fell in love with his father, and she left him her fortune. You can't prove you weren't part of the plan. You were the one who would benefit the most," Victor will say. In other words, dirty money, dirty empire. He'll add there's nothing stopping him from going to the press with this information. "Are you extorting me, Victor?" Kane will ask. "I want you to join me as an ally against Jack Abbott and Jabot. If not, the content of this letter will go to the press," Victor will reply. "You'll be run out of town for good." But what will Kane decide to do? Keep reading the Soap Scoop for Young and the Restless spoilers and news. And make sure to also join our Y&R Facebook group or leave us a reply in our comments section. But if you miss an episode, don't fret. You can watch The Young and the Restless online at cbs.com. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Pulse Canvas. It's me, Julie here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching. So let's dive into today's video. Many fans of The Young and the Restless would probably agree that Audra Charles is the kind of character you either love or hate, or maybe you love to hate her. She's beautiful, bright, passionate, ambitious, power-hungry, and will do almost anything to achieve success in the business world. She seems like a throwback to the characters we watched in the primetime soaps of the 1970s and 80s, like Dallas and Dynasty. We could easily picture her having an affair with Dallas's iconic villain J.R. Ewing, and maybe even getting the best of him somehow. On Friday's episode of The Young and the Restless, Nate tried to get to the bottom of what really happened between Audra and Victor. Did she indeed make a deal with him to fund her company Vibrante if she seduced Kyle away from Claire? That was the question Nate wanted a truthful answer to. Not only did she continue to tell him no, but she broke up with him for not believing her. It was infuriating that she refused to be honest with him. But if we take a deeper dive into her character's behavior, it seems to come from a place of insecurity and an intense fear of rejection. After all the ups and downs she endured last year in her relationship with Tucker, she is finally in a solid and stable relationship with a man who doesn't have unresolved feelings for someone else. Audra always knew a big part of Tucker's heart belonged to Ashley Abbott. Nate, on the other hand, loves Audra, and only Audra. Perhaps that's one reason why she's so terrified to tell him the truth and risk losing him. Terrified is not a word we associate with Audra. She's tough, courageous, and has great inner strength, or at least that's how she appears most of the time. But we know she has a soft, caring side also. We've seen it in her scenes with Amy. Audra has been a loving, supportive friend to Amy throughout her battle with leukemia. Sally and Audra have developed a close friendship on The Young and the Restless. Sally shared the painful experience she went through when she was involved with Adam, and he refused to be honest with her about his one-night stand with Chelsea. "I do know a thing or two about what Nate might be feeling," Sally said. "Adam withheld the truth because he thought it would protect me, but in the end, the lying just made it worse." It would have been nice if Audra had taken those words to heart and told Nate the truth about her deal with Victor. It feels like so much of Audra's character boils down to this. She walks a tightrope between achieving success in business at whatever cost and trying to maintain a good relationship with her significant other. She just has the damnedest time trying to reconcile those two things. The writers of The Young and the Restless have kept Audra somewhat of a mystery. We've only been getting what feels like puzzle pieces about her past. Last year, after Jordan got Nikki hooked on alcohol again, Audra mentioned that she had some personal knowledge of that struggle herself. She said her father was an alcoholic. Audra shared another tidbit about herself when she told Sally she used to be interested in art, but she didn't want to go through the hardship of living week to week as a struggling artist trying to sell her work. So she gave up her artistic dreams and pursued a lucrative career in business instead. Now that Sally has offered her a job at Abbott Communications, it would be fun to see Audra revisit her creative passions and incorporate them somehow into her role in the business. Maybe she could do graphic design for the company or paint a mural for the lobby. The possibilities are endless if only the writers would explore them. It would also be wonderful if we could delve more deeply into Audra's background to get a better sense of what motivates her to be so fiercely driven to succeed. What else happened to her years ago, perhaps in her childhood or college years, that shaped her into the woman she has become? It would be interesting to know, since she is so good at being both tough and tender. We want to know more about her, and we should. Next week on The Young and the Restless, Claire realizes there's more to tell. Here's a look ahead at the episodes we'll see from Monday, August 25th to Friday, August 29th, 2025. On The Young and the Restless, Victor is still determined to befriend Kane as a means to find out what he's up to, but being a friend of a foe isn't Victor's strong suit. Neither is hiding his true feelings. But one thing Victor cannot do well is let anyone mistake their placement. So, given the chance to sit across from Kane on his train, Victor tries to goad Kane into a reaction. It's no longer a secret that Kane bought up all the commercial property he could in downtown Genoa City, but Victor used it as a way to provoke his newest frenemy. "Seems to have been your father's last great swindle," Victor says with a snicker, before accusing Kane of gaining his fortune and the buying of properties was all a result of dirty money. Speaking of Victor, now that he has given his blessing to Kyle and Claire, does he mean it? He gave Kyle some room to do himself in, and maybe with the heat off of him, that's exactly what's about to happen. Claire took matters into her own hands with Audra's meddling by telling Nate that she had struck a deal with Victor to seduce Kyle, but she might be missing some information. Everyone in Nice saw Kyle be a willing participant to Audra's flirtations. Whether or not he was playing her, things did to far in his train car in France. Next week, Claire wants to know what exactly went down. Will Kyle tell her the truth? And if so, how will she react? Meanwhile, Lily is one of many people who want to know what Kane has planned for the future and what he's really been doing for the last 6 years, although her reasons may be more personal. She knows that Holden is working for Kane now, but does he know anything that will shed some light on her questions? The Young and the Restless spoilers for the next 2 weeks, August 25th to September 5th, reveal that Victoria Newman will face a Claire Newman scare, while Kyle Abbott makes a daring move. Billy Abbott will also have some intel for Jack Abbott, so let's talk about what's in store. During the week of August 25th to 29, Victor Newman will blackmail Kane Ashby using proof of Colin Atkinson's final swindle before his demise. Since Colin's stolen fortune supposedly helped build Kane's empire, Kane will agree to the Jabot takedown alliance Victor wants. That'll keep the news quiet and force this partnership to move forward. However, Kane could have some sneaky surprises in the works for Victor. It'll be interesting to see how Kane strikes back once he calls Amanda Sinclair to Genoa City for his next instructions. As for Lily, she'll find herself haunted by her history with Kane. Despite all the drama that's been unleashed, part of Lily will miss when Kane was her romantic partner. While Kane talks to Billy Abbott about the 6 years he spent away from Genoa City, Nate Hastings will have second thoughts. Will Nate consider repairing his damaged relationship with Audra Charles since there's no firm proof that she's lying? Next, Victoria will fret over what the future holds for Claire. Although Victor finally decided to stop standing in the way, Claire isn't 100% sure she trusts Kyle and his side of the nice story. Victoria will be afraid of the heartache that Claire could face and how it might affect her moving forward. Claire will eventually confront Kyle and ask if there's anything he hasn't told her about what happened in Nice. Will Kyle come clean about his makeout session with Audra, or at least the one kiss that he's been telling Jack and Diane Jenkins Abbott about? Whether Kyle spills or keeps quiet longer, he'll ultimately make a daring move of some sort. Kyle may pull out all the stops to show Claire his devotion and reiterate that Audra means nothing to him. As for Nikki Newman, she'll announce a major shakeup at Chancellor. This might involve a promotion for Claire or something along those lines. Amanda Sinclair will also make her Y&R return to help Kane, while Billy reports back to Jack with some details on Kane's next scheme. The week of September 4th-5th will give Jack a chance to mull over Billy's updates and strategize. Once Jack gets confirmation that Kane and Victor's alliance is locked in, he'll want to be ready for whatever they throw at him. While Jack does his best to protect his family company, Adam Newman may continue to sound the alarm about Kane and how untrustworthy he is. Adam doesn't approve of this Kane alliance plan at all, so he may voice more objections with Nick and Victor. Over with Daniel Romalotti Jr. and Tessa Porter, there's a good chance a moment of temptation is on the way. Will Tessa and Daniel surrender to a kiss? Will Mariah Copeland or Sharon Newman be around to catch a glimpse of any close moment that might be coming up? The Young and the Restless spoilers say the next 2 weeks will bring some surprises and setbacks, so stay tuned. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Amanda Sinclair will return for Kane Ashby's emergency project, so let's talk about when Michelle Morgan will be back on screen. Y&R fans who have been waiting for more Amanda scenes won't have to wait much longer. That's because Amanda will hit the air again starting Friday, August 29th. It turns out Amanda will re-enter the picture because she's needed for a special assignment. Kane will summon Amanda with some urgent orders, so this may tie in with Victor Newman's blackmail plot. Victor will have the last will and testament of the former owner of the chateau, who also owned the vineyard. This wealthy older woman was Colin Atkinson's final mark, according to Victor. Colin apparently swindled this woman out of everything before helping Kane build his empire with dirty money. Victor will threaten to leak this info to the press unless Kane cooperates on his alliance idea and helps go after Jabot. Kane considers Amanda to be the best of the best when it comes to attorneys, so he may push her to make all this go away. If Victor's claims are true, then Kane may want Amanda to muzzle him somehow. There may be some lawsuit threats and other legal strategies that Amanda can look into. Then again, Kane might push Amanda to dig up Newman dirt to retaliate against Victor. If Kane can blackmail Victor right back, then Victor will lose his advantage. However, we should also consider the possibility that Kane has some sort of trap in place. What if Kane wanted Victor to think he had the upper hand and planted this info for him to find? Kane is a sneaky guy who likes playing games, so we certainly wouldn't put it past him. Whatever the case, Kane will need Amanda's help with something that could be related to all this Newman drama, so stay tuned for his big news. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Amanda will get Kane's next orders and do her part to help. Here is your weekly recap of The Young and the Restless for the episodes that aired August 18th through 22nd, 25. This week on The Young and the Restless, Lily flatly turned down Kane's request for another chance and left him to explain his double life to the twins without her help. Lily warned Holden to watch his back with Kane. Kane stressed to an overenthusiastic Phyllis that they were not partners or equals. Phyllis chided Kane for stalling his plan to take over Genoa City. Kane assigned Phyllis the task of becoming an expert in artificial intelligence. Adam and Chelsea braced themselves for a counterattack from Kane. Phyllis was suspicious about Nick's efforts to turn Kane into an ally. Kane instructed Holden to add Nick to the list of people to make inroads with. Maddie and Charlie rejected Kane's attempts to reach out to them. Nate struggled to believe Audra's claim that she'd decided to walk away from Victor funding Vibrante. Nate tried to be supportive of Audra's plan to work at Abbott Communications, but he had lingering doubts about her story. Claire admitted to Holden that she had doubts about Kyle's version of what had happened with Audra. Tessa and Claire commiserated over their troubles. Daniel and Tessa shared a close moment. Claire informed Nate that Victor had pulled his funding from Vibrante because Audra had failed to break Claire and Kyle by seducing him, while Audra vehemently stuck to her story that Kyle had hit on her. Audra slipped by saying Victor was right in that Kyle would break Claire's heart. Nate grappled with whether to believe Claire or Audra, and Devin advised him to trust his gut. Nate confronted Audra about the holes in her story, and gently pressed for the truth to save their relationship. Audra walked out on Nate. Victor stunned Claire by finally agreeing to accept her relationship with Kyle. Victor later told Kyle that while Kyle had passed his test, Victor would never trust an Abbott. Jack cautioned that Kyle's lie of omission about kissing Audra in Nice could be problematic if the truth got out. Sally planned the launch of Abbott Communications and worried about the pressure of running a family company, but Billy assured her she'd be great. Chelsea sensed Billy was planning something big. Jack and Diane shared a romantic Italian-themed evening. Kane and Phyllis are working together on The Young and the Restless, and both of them want to take down Victor Newman. But will their new project work? Or could it backfire? Once again, Phyllis showed up uninvited. Kane wondered how often she was going to do this. She's good at putting her nose where it doesn't belong. She did that when Kane looked at his tablet. He was checking off his to-do list, which included a crafty plan. Phyllis is eager to get to work, so Kane offered her a project. He asked her if she knew about artificial intelligence. Phyllis can work here away around a phone or two, but she has never played around with ChatGPT. She admitted that she's heard of AI. She still considers herself a techie, even though she hasn't played around with this new digital tool. Kane asked Phyllis to become an expert in artificial intelligence. He knows that she can pick up things fast, but Phyllis has a lot of work cut out for her. She looked up artificial intelligence on the internet and was blown away by what she learned. This could be the tool that could take down Victor. After her meeting with Kane, Phyllis sat in the park. She thought about all of the companies she could hack with this emergent technology. Phyllis has caught on to the future, but has Victor? Could AI outwit Victor Newman? So many people have tried to take him down for decades, but no one has beaten him. Maybe Kane and Phyllis have something powerful on their hands, or maybe they're playing with danger. Who knows what could come out of this technology, especially when it ends up in the wrong hands. Phyllis believes this tool is more powerful than all of GC's elite. But could it be clever enough to take over Newman Enterprises? The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Mariah Copeland's mystery should start unfolding soon. Maybe the reason why she can't talk is that she's already being blackmailed by someone. Could Could we begin to see the real reason why the redhead says it's not safe? Keep reading, and let's talk about what could happen next with this story. When Mariah came back from her business trip, she seemed shaken up. Although she tried to hide it from Tessa Porter, it didn't work. The brunette knew something was going on with her wife, but couldn't get any answers. Tessa thought for sure that threatening to leave Mariah would do the trip. However, Mariah just kept saying it wasn't safe to talk about it. The redhead is having terrible flashbacks of her sin. Tessa probably thinks she cheated. However, that only seems to be part of the story. That night, Mariah startled a mystery man and smothered him with a pillow. However, we don't know why she turned on that man, although his features did look a bit similar to her former tormentor, Ian Ward. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Tessa has been spending a lot of time with Daniel Romalotti Jr., and what started out as guitar lessons turned into a friendship. Now they are getting even closer, and Daniel admitted to Danny Romalotti that he was developing feelings for Tessa. Although Tessa has a broken heart, Daniel has been her rock lately. So it seems clear that once Mariah finally admits what's really going on, Tessa will have already moved on with Daniel. At this point, Mariah might think that nobody knows what she did. What if someone does, though? Did Mariah go as far as to dump the body somewhere? Or did she just leave it in the motel room? Depending on her actions, it could be the man himself. Maybe he didn't really die and is haunting Mariah. It's also possible that if the man really is dead, maybe someone saw her that night. Could that person contact Mariah out of the blue, claiming they know what she did that night? If so, that might explain why Mariah basically abandoned her wife and child. This person could threaten to come after Tessa and Aria Porter Copeland next, so that could explain it not being safe to talk about it. So, if a mystery blackmailer is targeting Mariah, what happens next? The Young and the Restless spoilers for Monday, August 25th indicate some interesting moments in the land of Genoa City as the weekend hits. An olive branch is extended between two foes, while another interrogates an acquaintance, and someone turns the tables on a rival. What's set to go down during Monday's show? Time to find out. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Monday, August 25th suggest that Nick Newman and Adam Newman will place their differences aside. It looks like someone will extend an olive branch, and the other will accept it, all in an effort to remain united against Kane Ashby. Nick and Adam have had their fair share of differences in the past, so it's nice to see them united and ready to battle an enemy. Speaking of Kane, Victor Newman will turn the tables on his newest nemesis. Kane wants to take over all the companies within Genoa City, from Newman to Jabot, Chancellor, and possibly Winters. So, as he's coming after Newman, will Victor decide to come for Kane's legacy? Lastly, The Young and the Restless spoilers for Monday imply that Lily Winters will interrogate Holden Novak. Lily is desperate to find out what Kane is up to, and she has a good feeling Holden knows. With that said, Holden is quite loyal to his longtime boss, as he worked for Kane when everyone thought he was Aristotle Dumas. Lily can try and grill Holden, but will he divulge any pertinent information? Could he even slip and say something by accident? Fans will have to tune in to find out. On a side note, while it looks as if Lily will end up diving into some sort of romantic reunion with Kane, maybe she should consider a relationship with Holden. They'd be interesting together. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal a preview clip has been released for the week of August 25th, 2025. It shows Claire Grace Newman issuing a demand to Kyle Abbott. Plus, Lily Winters pushes Holden Novak to divulge information about Kane Ashby. Keep reading and let's chat about what is coming up in the CBS soap opera. Let's start off with Lily, who questions Holden about Kane. In the preview clip for next week, Lily says she just wants the truth. That is when Holden replies that he doesn't know anything about Kane's long-term plans. However, Lily doesn't believe him. Even if Holden did know, he couldn't tell Lily anyway. Of course, fans know that Holden questioned Kane before Damian Kane's death. However, Holden was told to mind his own business and just make the connections on that list. Holden was fine with the secrecy before. However, due to Holden's feelings for Claire, I wonder if he could get concerned about Kane's plans. The Young and the Restless spoilers for the week of August 25th reveal that Victor Newman summons Kane for a meeting. It sounds like Victor has found some information about Kane's late father, Colin Atkinson. Apparently, Colin had one last swindle before he died. Then, Victor declares that Kane is swindling all of them. Fans will also see Claire confront Kyle one more time. Claire asked before if anything happened with Audra Charles in Nice. Kyle kept redirecting the conversation before, so Claire never did get a clear answer. What she suspects is that something might have happened, but Kyle isn't being totally honest about it. Claire would rather Kyle tell her a painful truth than for Audra to be able to hold it over their heads. However, the young man assumes he will lose Claire because of how far it went. If Kyle is smart, he would confess everything to Claire before she finds out another way. She's already suspicious because of Audra's claims. With Claire and Victor just making up, I wonder if Audra's revenge might not just be about Kyle's relationship. I wonder if Audra could also target Claire's other relationships. Which storyline are you looking forward to seeing the most during the week of August 25th, 2025? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Keep watching the soap on CBS or Paramount Plus to find out what happens next. The Young and the Restless spoilers and updates tease that single again Audra Charles could create quite a stir in Genoa City. After her breakup with Nate Hastings, who will Audra pursue next? Among Genoa City's single, or perhaps not single men? Y&R seems to have another romantic interest ready for Nate, who has been re-establishing his connection with Victoria Newman. While it might take a while for a Nate and Victoria reunion to unfold, they appear to be on the path to it eventually. Audra might also decide to move forward, making it intriguing to watch which new romantic avenue she explores. Which handsome guy in GC will Audra find herself attracted to in the months ahead? Holden Novak has gotten closer to Claire Newman recently, but a part of him will always be captivated by Audra and her distinctive allure. If Audra eventually makes her move on Holden, it's likely he will give in and end up in bed with her. Given that Claire and Kyle Abbott might be heading for a romantic separation, Claire could turn to Holden for emotional support. This situation could lead Audra to feel possessive about her former boyfriend and attempt to draw Holden back into her orbit. Conversely, Audra may decide to pursue Kyle again if she feels the need to validate herself. The boundary between love and hate is quite delicate, prompting Audra to possibly leverage Kyle's future single status to her advantage. Of course, it's also likely that the show will match Audra with someone new and intriguing like Kane Ashby, who might grow weary of waiting for Lily Winters. In the meantime, Audra could serve as a pleasant diversion for Kane, especially since she has previously suggested that she finds him attractive, although he will probably just toy with her. Phyllis Summers has been boasting about Kane's ambitions being beyond what Audra can grasp, which might lead Audra to pursue Kane and get closer to him. Billy Abbott could be another match for Audra if Y&R ruins her friendship with Sally Spectra. No one would be really surprised at that. Audra always prioritizes her own interests, so Sally should definitely be cautious. Genoa City thrives on whispers, and no one knows it better than Lily. She has seen too many storms to mistake Kane's recent behavior for coincidence. Closed-door meetings, abrupt schedule changes, and the restless energy of a man convinced he could rewrite his story in one bold stroke. It all signaled trouble. As a mother, she refused to let their children become collateral damage. Lily confronted Kane, hoping for honesty. Instead, their conversation collapsed into posturing. Kane spoke with the tone of a man who no longer expected trust, only victory. Victory at any cost. For Lily, the sting was not his ambition, but his resignation. If he could not be slowed, she would prepare others, starting with Holden, who found himself drawn into Kane's orbit. Lily warned him plainly, anyone standing too close risked sinking with him. While Lily was bracing for fallout, Kane was moving forward with a secret meeting. The venue alone spoke volumes. A train, chosen for its anonymity and constant motion. His guest was none other than Victor Newman, a man who understood leverage better than anyone in town. Kane wanted reassurance that his latest deal remained intact. Instead, Victor placed an envelope before him, evidence that the funds behind Kane's prized acquisition, Arabesque, were tied to questionable transfers originating from his late father's dealings. Victor's ultimatum was brutal and simple. join forces with Newman against Jack Abbott and Jabot, or see Arabesque become Exhibit A in a scandal that would shred Kane's reputation. It was a forked path: accept power at the cost of independence, or risk ruin in the name of integrity. Kane studied the papers with the haunted look of a man recognizing his father's shadow in every line. Back in town, Lily set her own quiet countermeasures. She alerted the children's school, discreetly reached out to a PR advisor, and sought counsel from Jack, whose instinct for corporate weather was unmatched. She warned Holden again, urging him to resist Kane's charm offensive, reminding him that shortcuts in Genoa City often lead into thickets. Holden, however, had already stepped back into Kane's world, rationalizing that working from the inside gave him more control. Kane tasked him with outreach. Claire, Tessa, Daniel, framed as philanthropy, but designed to measure vulnerabilities. Holden played the role, careful but uneasy, aware he was walking a line between facilitation and manipulation. What Kane did not realize was how much Lily understood about the price of silence. When she learned Holden had been kept in the dark about Damien's death, a friend he once considered a brother, she named the wound aloud. Did Kane's omissions reveal the kind of man Holden wanted to tie himself to? The question lingered heavier than any contract. By nightfall, Kane pressed forward, pushing Holden for updates while brushing aside any talk of consequences. Holden delivered only facts, stripped of loyalty. In private, he drew his own line. If Kane's plan slipped into coercion, he would warn Lily first. In a city where power is often measured by how much people forget, Lily and Holden chose another path. They remembered, and in Genoa City, that act alone might prove to be the most dangerous move of all. When Victor Newman suddenly shifted his attitude toward Kyle Abbott and Claire Grace, it wasn't an act of kindness. It was strategy. The Newman patriarch has never been known to hand out blessings without strings attached, and his recent move left Genoa City rattled. Victor stunned everyone when he told Claire he would no longer stand in the way of her romance with Kyle. He even went as far as to tell Kyle that he had passed the test and was now worthy of his granddaughter. For outsiders, it looked like growth from the famously stubborn mogul. But to those who know Victor best, like Jack Abbott and Diane Jenkins, the move felt rehearsed, not heartfelt. Jack and Diane were quick to see through the gesture. They've both lived through Victor's patterns of charm as camouflage before, and they recognized that his sudden approval wasn't about acceptance, it was about control. Meanwhile, Victoria and Nikki, who often questioned Victor's motives, found themselves defending him, once again blurring the line between admiration and blind loyalty. The truth is that Victor didn't surrender. He recalibrated. Claire had forced his hand when she told him point-blank that if he continued meddling in her love life, she would walk away from their relationship entirely. For Victor, losing her was not an option, so instead of pushing harder, he adjusted his tactics. He cloaked himself in warmth, allowing Claire the illusion of freedom, knowing full well that when things inevitably fell apart with Kyle, she would come running back to him for comfort. Behind the curtain, Victor's maneuvering didn't stop. He reached out to Summer Newman, carefully weaving a story that tugged at her heart. He never attacked Claire directly. Instead, he spoke of family, of Harrison's need for stability, and of the importance of parents standing together. By appealing to Summer's guilt, he lured her back to Genoa City, setting the stage for the love triangle to fracture under its own weight. Soon after Summer's return, Victor orchestrated subtle encounters that cast Claire as an outsider. Whether it was Harrison clinging to his mother or Kyle caught in moments of familiarity with his ex, Claire began to feel her footing slip. Victor didn't need to say a word. He had already planted seeds of doubt in everyone's mind. The breaking point came when Harrison, prompted by a conversation Victor had quietly engineered, begged his parents to live together again. Claire walked in to find the boy curled in Summer's lap, and though she smiled through the pain, her world crumbled. Victor delivered the final blow in private. With gentle words, he told Claire that love sometimes means letting go, framing her exit as noble sacrifice rather than manipulation. And faced with the impossible choice of fighting back or being painted as selfish, Claire stepped aside. In the end, Victor Newman didn't just end Claire and Kyle's romance, he rewrote it. He turned her heartbreak into a lesson, casting himself as the wise patriarch who had saved the family. And as Genoa City praised him, Claire was left alone, knowing the truth. Victor hadn't blessed her love story. He had destroyed it, and everyone would thank him for it. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Monday, August 25th reveal that Victor Newman will expose Kane Ashby's dirty money while Lily Winters suspects Holden Novak is lying. For starters, Kane will have another meeting with Victor, who'll make some shocking accusations. It turns out Victor will claim to have knowledge of Colin Atkinson's last great swindle and will suggest Kane's been buying up property with dirty money. Of course, Kane may defend his late father, who supposedly turned things around toward the end of his life. Colin spent decades running scams and chasing after shady paydays, so he wanted to help Kane build a legitimate empire before his passing. Kane believes he achieved that with Colin's assistance, but Victor will apparently act like Colin was the same old schemer, even after he claimed to change. Will Victor have evidence to back up these dirty money accusations? Even if he does, Kane might act like it's fabricated and struggle to believe what Victor's telling him. Other Y&R spoilers say Lily will be determined to learn the extent of Kane's plans in Genoa City. Kane still hasn't told Lily what his full agenda looks like, so Lily will decide maybe Holden knows more than he's letting on. Once Lily finds Holden in the park, she'll put him through a grilling session. Lily will plead for the truth, but Holden will insist he's out of the loop when it comes to Kane's complete plot. Although Lily will have a hard time buying that, Holden will promise he doesn't know the details. Holden is working for Kane and doing what he's told, but his boss is playing things close to the vest for now. Lily will walk away from this conversation frustrated since she obviously won't get the meaty updates she's after. Phyllis Summers is Kane's right-hand woman these days, so Lily might try pumping her for the latest news eventually. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Kane will deal with more hurdles when it comes to all the takeovers he's got cooking up, so stay tuned. It's a week of truth bombs exploding in Genoa City, as teased in the latest Young and Restless preview. Lily wants answers from Holden, Claire wants a confession from Kyle, and Kane may not like what Victor has to tell him. Lily met with Kane in his club car and tried to ply him for information. That's when Holden arrived to speak with the boss about some job opportunities, sending up some red flags for Lily. That's likely why she's confronting Holden next week about what he really knows regarding Kane's plans. But can she convince him to tell her anything? Victor meets with Kane on his train this week to divulge some hard-to-hear information. All the property Kane's been buying up was purchased with his father's dirty money. It seems Colin, played by the late Tristan Rogers, had one last trick up his sleeve. Finally, Claire was out for revenge after watching Audra pull Kyle into a kiss and told Nate just what kind of woman his girlfriend was. Of course, all she told him was what she'd been lying about, that Audra was in cahoots with Victor, but that was enough to cause turmoil in their relationship. However, Audra's words about Kyle kept chipping away at Claire. Next week, she confronts Kyle and wants to know if he's left anything at all, out about Audra and Nice. Oh, plenty. But will he be honest? Plus, Nate makes a confession, and Kane reveals more details about the past 6 years. The Young and the Restless spoilers for August 25th, 29 reveal the reason for Amanda's latest return to Genoa City. Plus, Nikki makes a big change and Chancellor, and there's another round of Jack versus Victor on the way. Victor may have finally given his approval for Kyle and Claire's relationship. His hatred for the Abbotts, however, remains as strong as ever, especially his rivalry with Jack Abbott. Next week, look for Victor and Jack to trade barbs over family matters. It's simply another Thursday in Genoa City. There are plenty of other goings-on in the Newman family that don't involve Victor directly. On Monday, Nick and Adam put their differences aside to help their family. Didn't they put aside their differences a long time ago? These days, they seem to get along more than they disagree, but they're always a flare-up away from destruction. On Thursday, Victoria worries about Claire's future. As well she should, considering Kyle is choosing to keep his actions with Audra and Nice a secret. And on Friday, Nikki makes a big change at Chancellor. Does she do this as a preventative measure against Kane's thirst for the company? In other GC news, Amanda returns home to a new assignment. Let's see. Kane already gave Phyllis homework. She has to become an AI expert, so much so that she could give a TED Talk. What homework will Kane give Amanda? Elsewhere, Nate is hurting. He lost Damien and feels helpless when it comes to consoling Amy. Things look done with Audra, who refused to tell him the truth about what went down between her and Kyle in Nice. Y&R teasers suggest that Nate makes a confession to Devon. What does he reveal? Look for Billy to tell Jack about Kane's latest plan. Meanwhile, Kane finally reveals details about his time away from Genoa City. Hopefully, he's filling in Lily since she needs the truth from him.